This is Monday, July 8th. There are 16 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2024. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
VANUHTWE go. Oh my god, I love Live Journal and my Live Journal loves me. Current movies, hyperactive, current news, Refuge 73. I love the color scheme in pink and purple.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm your host, James Riley, and joining me on the podcast, as always, Carrie Dixon.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us.
And also joining the unofficial blog, Andy Wagner.
Good evening, everyone.
And joining us, our special guest this week is TV critic Eric Goldman.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We will be taking comments and questions during the show, so you can tweet us at SD_comic_con. You can use the hashtags SDConCast. We will also be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you wish to comment there. But first up, let's just kick it off. Carrie, why don't you get us going?
All right. Well, it has been kind of a slow year so far for announcements on TV, but things definitely picked up today. We got several announcements, so let's just dive right in. The biggest thing that we got today is probably Amazon Prime. We know that they're going to bring Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Do we think that that is all they're going to bring this year?
Well, okay, so this is a tricky timing, right? Because The Boys will just be wrapping up. And I mean, that's the no shade on Lord of the Rings, but I mean, The Boys is like their biggest show as far as viewership goes, it seems. So I don't think they're going to bring The Boys. It just the timing would be weird. And because it's not like they can even do the next year is the final season. So it's not like they'll even do like hey, that was the end for us, wrap up. So I'm trying to think about if there's anything else they have in the pipeline. Invincible. Is Invincible back this fall? I think it might be. So I think that could be a possibility. But I don't know if they're gonna will there be any Vogt representation outside of possibly like things to see. I don't know. Because it's also gonna be a while before we get a Gen V back again.
Yes. No, I totally agree. And in fact, we've been in this boat before where like The Boys ended shortly before the con and they didn't do anything those other years either. So I think we're probably not getting The Boys representation, but they do have that Batman Caped Crusader.
That's right. Yes.
And it comes out like right after the convention. So I feel like we might get something for that.
Yes, actually, now that you mentioned that, absolutely. First of all, I don't think there is Invincible back because it was back this spring, but Batman for sure. As we've talked about many times here, with TV gets complicated with the studio side of it all. And once upon a time, we could count on Warner Brothers bringing like 25 shows. That time has passed us by, but they will still bring some shows. And certainly a show about Batman, which has had a strange behind the scenes because it jumped from Max. I would be very surprised if that one doesn't go.
Yeah, I absolutely would as well. So on that note, let's talk about Warner Brothers. Like, do we think that they're going to bring anything else? Do we think HBO is going to bring anything? Like, what are we thinking?
So it would certainly be nice if Superman and Lois goes for its final season, right? Again, once upon a time, Warner Brothers would bring so many shows, and so many of them would air on the CW network because it was like 10 superhero shows and assorted other sci-fi / genre shows. And as everyone knows, the CW has completely shifted gears and doesn't even have many Warner Brothers shows left. But Superman and Lois, it's going into its final season. And obviously it's a strange time because behind the scenes, we know that the new Superman movie is coming next year. But I would hope it would be nice if they would bring it. It's crazy to even have doubt. It's just that these days, wasn't it Riverdale that was supposed to come for its final season and then didn't? So yeah. So it's like that should have been there, but it wasn't. I don't know what changed behind the scenes last minute on that one. But I don't have no definitive, like they're definitely going to bring Superman and Lois because of how things have changed, but I hope they bring it. I think it'd be nice. It's the last little remnant of the sort of Berlanti Arrowverse, even though it's set in alternate reality, because it did begin once upon a time as a Supergirl spinoff before they changed their mind about it. So yeah, I'm gonna knock on wood that one goes.
Yeah, absolutely. What do we think about HBO? Do we think they'll bring anything? Because they actually have several options, I feel like.
They do have several options, and House of the Dragon, I don't think we'll probably go again because of timing, because it's like, even though I think it'll still have some episodes left to air this season, or just it'll have a couple left. That seems less likely. I would love, because remind me, The Last of Us hasn't gone yet, has it? Did it go for the first season?
No, no, it hasn't been at all.
And they've been filming season 2. So even though I don't think, I don't know if they're ready to announce when season 2 is airing, except maybe next year, that still feels like a possibility that you could bring that show. Penguin, I know we're going into Max territory, although now it's all weird with what they brand HBO. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's all one and the same. Like
it's all one and the same. It would be weird not to bring Penguin, right? Actually, let's just get through all the Batverse stuff, because we mentioned Cape Crusader. Kite Man. I don't know if they do a Harley Quinn panel right now, but Kite Man's about to debut. So Kite Man and Penguin, it would be really weird not to bring those to Comic-Con. Guys, look at the source material. So again, the only hesitation I have is that suddenly Warner Brothers TV backed off so much in recent years. But I would be surprised if they don't bring 2 brand new shows.
Yeah.
Have Batman connections, because the kids love Batman. Everyone loves Batman. Those 2 I would expect to go. Last of Us, I hope would go, but Penguin and Kite Man, I'm optimistic will go.
So HBO or Max, whatever we're calling it these days, that's one other option. They've got Dune Prophecy. What do we think about that?
Actually, that's a great one. I think yes, only because it's been oddly under the radar. If you look at the behind the scenes, that show's actually been a very troubled production with a lot of changes behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the movies have become this huge deal for them. So unless they're washing their hands of the show, which I don't think they're doing, it seems like this would be the great place to go all out for Dune, because it's been so quiet. So that, and because they have Penguin, and again, optimistic they'll bring Penguin, it feels to me like they could carve out some time and have both those shows maybe back to back or the same day. And again, bring people down there. Where in the past they would be there like every day because they had so many shows. Now maybe they just go 1 or 2 days, and I could see that, banging out a bunch of those panels close together.
And they used to bring Game of Thrones every year, no matter what, matter when it did, but they don't do the celebration anymore. It's a different time. So
very different time. Yeah.
So House of the Dragon, that's why we don't expect House of the Dragon, because they're just not doing that anymore.
They're not doing it, and because the they had all the actors a few weeks ago when they were doing the press and the lead-in. Right now, they're not filming, and the actors have spread out. It just doesn't. And like you said, it's a different time as far as like the expected thing of bringing Game of Thrones every year.
And the other DC one that we're maybe expecting is Eric Z mentions it in the comments, is Creature Commandos, the first gun DC Universe show.
Yeah. I don't want to step too much on the toes of speculation about the movie side, but obviously James Gunn has said he's not going. That doesn't rule out them doing anything with the movie stuff. But yeah, Creature Commandos, in a way that would be like a smart move, even if they don't bring Superman the movie, even if they don't do anything for the movie, it would be a nice way to do it. To be like, hey, here's Creature Commandos, here's something that we can present to you, and not gonna get ahead of ourselves because we're holding back on Superman. So I think that would be, again, as we're talking about all this Max stuff and HBO stuff and the crossover there, that one is one that I would think has a good shot, especially because they're not doing their own convention anymore. That era has passed us by with the online stuff. And so yeah, I would, especially you think back a couple years ago when Marvel did the Marvel animation panel separate. I don't think they're going to do something like that yet, because they don't. It's like, yes, they have Kite Man and Harley Quinn and Creature Commando, but it still feels like that stuff you could probably group together, and not label it like everything coming animated, but focus on those 2 shows, maybe especially Kite Man and Creature Commandos.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we've just talked about DC, but let's move over to the Marvel side.
Mhm.
What are we thinking Marvel brings for TV?
So it's interesting, right? Because Agatha all along trailer drop today. It did surprise me because we're so close to Comic-Con and we know that Marvel Studios is going, uh, that why they wouldn't have just waited. Although then I saw, well, the premiere is in September, so maybe you do want to start, like, it is time to get some promo out there for it. Um, my expectations are, just looking at the landscape of the fact that Marvel Studios in general has backed away from like the onslaught of as much as they were putting out. And D23 is happening this year. And yes, they are going to Comic-Con, but I feel like they might just it won't be the insanity of some of those years as far as like, here's like the 20 things. That being said, Agatha is their one other big show this year. It's they're not doing a bunch of shows. So it could be held for D23, but certainly I would think that there's a good shot of that. I do wonder about stuff that's been sort of sitting on the shelf for a long time. It's crazy to think, like, I saw stuff from Marvel Zombies 2 years ago at that aforementioned animation panel. We still haven't actually seen that show. We also know they shot Ironheart and Wonder Man, but I can see Ironheart and Wonder Man kind of being held for D23. But Agatha, and if they're going to put out Marvel Zombies anytime soon, or Spider-Man. I forgot. There's also Spider-Man freshman year, or they might have retitled that, I think. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I could see maybe a couple of those sneaking in to the Marvel Studios presentation. Again, which I think is just going to be smaller. I say that it'll still probably be absolutely huge. I just don't think they're going to bring out like the non-stop, like, here's 20 shows and here's 50 actors that they've done in the past.
Right. Yeah, because I kind of expect it to be more of a hype train with announcements and things, and less of, like you said, the parade of stars. That's definitely more of a D23 thing that they would kind of like present at their big panel there.
Yeah. I think
it's hype.
Hype and focus on a couple projects, and whatever those are on the movie side, whether it's Captain America or whatnot, and then on the show side, Agatha, and then maybe something on the animated side, because they do have, like we've said, a couple things that they've been sort of sitting on for a while. Hell, I mean, they are working on X-Men 97 season 2, and they got so much positive reaction to that. They could sneak in, here's like a little clip of X-Men 97 season 2.
And like basically the entire voice cast is already confirmed for the show.
There you go.
That makes it really easy. Makes it very easy.
That's a great point.
Yes. And then Ronan and Shane in our chat also pointed out about Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, of course. We're talking about all these other things. The biggest one. That's like a toss-up to me because of the D23 of it all, and the fact that I think they'll be more focused and more selective. So it definitely could be. But just because Agatha is sooner, and Agatha is the one that, like, obviously is going to be getting like it already has the external push. The trailer is out. So to me, it's like, do they bring? But I can see them doing a little bit of Daredevil at both. It's a big deal for them. They've already kind of done that. They've like, I think they did the title reveal at Comic-Con, but then at D23 they did the confirmation of like, and Wilson Fisk is back. It's like they sometimes they like to stagger out how they do things like that. So Born Again, it might get a little love there at Comic-Con as well.
So let's switch up to one of the other networks. One company that tends to go pretty all out at Comic-Con is AMC, with all the wraps and the offsites.
Yeah.
Are we expecting them to bring the new Daryl Dixon show, Mayfair Witches, Snowpiercer, or what was the
Interview
last
with the Vampire?
Interview, right.
So Interview, it's like
just finished,
has been renewed. A strange show for them because there's a lot of buzz around it, but then it doesn't seem like a lot of people have seen the show yet. I mean, people who've seen it love it, but it's just like, it hasn't, kind of like, because AMC's in a different place right now. But last year, they went pretty big with Interview, with the offsite and whatnot. I can see them still giving it some presence, a panel, maybe or maybe not. The fact is, though, that they are going so all in on this Anne Rice stuff and, making it sort of a bigger universe. I think there is room for them to do something that kind of does push both Mayfair Witches and interview. I think there might even be a third thing that they have in development. So I could see something like that.
There is.
Yeah. And so, and then Walking Dead, obviously, because we know that both Daryl Dixon and Dead City, that's the Negan and Maggie in New York one, are both coming back. So I think that there is room again for maybe a shared panel. I can see like an Anne Rice one and a Walking Dead one that kind of pool together these different connected universes that they have going on at the same time.
I also will frankly be shocked if we don't get weirdly a Snowpiercer panel, because they did a trolley wrap for it. And I think a lot of people do not realize that Snowpiercer has moved to AMC, and it starts like right after the convention. So
yes.
if you're going to pay for a trolley wrap, like surely there's a panel.
If you ever want to have fun,
last season, right?
It is the last season.
Yep.
And if you ever want to have fun, read the wiki page for that show and read how many times it changed networks and the strange, bizarre, both before it debuted and while it aired. I mean, that is a very strange show. That being said, yes, you're right. They're doing the wraps and it is the final season. And I wonder, like, if they could get like, the cast out again, because I think this season was filmed a long time ago. But it feels like if AMC is like, hey, this let's kind of blow this out a little bigger, there would definitely be room to do that here.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is a show that I watch, and you're right. That was really hard to keep up with, trying to figure out where I was going to watch it this week.
Yeah. I just remember when I was writing about it, and it was like, where is it even going to air? The TNT versus TBS kept changing, and so the fact that it made one more switch after its final season was shot was just like classic Snowpiercer.
It switched tracks.
Yep. There you go.
So I want to shift gears again. And the thing that I am honestly the most curious about this year is Apple TV. They went really hard in 2022. And then obviously last year was the strikes anyway, but they were not planning to go. But Severance is back. So do they go big again because of Severance, or do we think that like they were one and done?
Severance, yeah, I think maybe they do come because Severance has taken so long to come back. Again, the strike still, I mean, it took a while anyway, seems like streaming shows just do. And then, I know they had just started filming when the strikes began. So that got pushed to the side. So that being the case, the fact that they clearly already did such a huge presence at Comic-Con last, and I'm trying to remember the timing. Hadn't the season already come out?
It was already over. Yeah, it was all over.
So, I mean, again, maybe this is wishful thinking more because it's like, they don't owe us anything, but I'm like, they got to bring it this time, right? Like last time was more of a celebratory thing,
Yeah.
And a discovery thing, because it's like, hey, people are talking about this show, let's push it even harder with this experience, with everything we're doing. But you've got, it's like, you've got people that are just, it's a very likable cast, and people like Adam Scott that are always going to be like welcomed in a situation like that. So that's a, I don't think it's a slam dunk, but I think that there's a good shot based on the history of the show at Comic-Con, based on the fact that I think that they do want to remind people that, hey, remember that great show that hasn't been on in the air for a long time? We're actually coming back. I think this would be a good opportunity for that.
Yeah. Well, and I also feel like the timing works out pretty well for a couple of other Apple TV shows. So like Silo is coming back later this year. Mm-hmm. I think Mythic Quest has also finished filming its season. So they've got, I feel like, a couple of genre shows that could make sense.
Yeah, it feels like Apple's one of those ones, and they've had like a different presence here and there. And then even if you want to include some of the Snoopy stuff, that they do. So it feels like they keep dipping their toes in. I shouldn't just say dipping your toes. Severance was like a huge deal because they did that huge thing at the Hard Rock. It does feel like they've been committed to having something go. And just the fact that they do have a show that has high profile for them as Severance finally coming back, and then the shows you mentioned, I think, are a good shot. And as everyone jokes, Apple's, they got money to burn, man. they can bring shows. So
yeah, come burn it at Comic-Con again.
Burn it at Comic-Con again. Yes.
Okay.
To be honest,
well,
I watched Severance just because of the hype at 2019. So
I think it was, by the way, similar. I mean, it wasn't only that, and that I had kept being told to watch the show, but it was an extra like underlining when I saw everything they did at Comic-Con.
That's how it's supposed to work. Like
Right.
companies, if you come to Comic-Con and you spend money, it gives you goodwill. Yes, yes. Okay, well, let's talk about the other streaming giant, Netflix.
Mhm.
Do they do anything? Period.
Right. It's always a toss up with them. And then there is the studio side of it I want to get into with a couple shows that I think have a shot, but I don't think, we should never assume with Netflix because they seem so arbitrary about when they go, when they don't, what they bring. But two shows that you have to wonder about, I think, are The Sandman and Cobra Kai.
Yep.
Sandman, we've already seen it. We should mention that, yes, there is like stuff up for the audio drama. It's a separate project. It's a weird thing that they happen concurrently. That being said, Sandman season 2 has been filmed, is coming. That's a Warner Brothers show. So then you get back into the whole Warner Brothers of it all. They did bring season 1. It is certainly nothing fits better except for a Batman show at Comic-Con than a Sandman show. So I would be hopeful that they might bring season 2 of that one. And then Cobra Kai is interesting because it will have already debuted part 1 of its final season, but just the way that they're rolling out that final season in those 3 different sections, third one doesn't even come out till next year. I think there's a chance. And diving into the movie side is the fact that there's a new Karate Kid movie coming from Sony, who produced the TV show, and that it seems like it's going to be at least tangentially tied together. They literally said when they delayed the movie's release date, it was to let Cobra Kai finish. So I feel like there's a chance. So Cobra Kai, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it's ever paneled at Comic-Con. No, it did. It did once. It did once.
Yes.
Did
Yeah,
WonderCon
it did
when they
once.
were still at YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I feel like this year there is a chance because even though part 1 will have just debuted, the fact that they still have 2/3 of the season to go and the movie coming, maybe they piggyback them. That's just a maybe. But there is a like the future of the Karate Kid franchise. It's also the 40th anniversary. Like there's a lot of stuff you could kind of package around Karate Kid if you wanted. If you're Sony, again, who produce it all. So that's again where it's like, part of it's Netflix, but a bigger part I think is Sony, and how much do they, want to maybe like do this entire huge celebration of end of Cobra Kai, 40th anniversary of the movie, new movie coming. You could do like it all, together.
It is also worth mentioning that Sony TV has a booth on the show floor for the first time since like 2011, maybe.
That's right.
So, like, if you're gonna do that, there's got to be a reason.
Yeah. Again, if nothing, as we know, sometimes like things are only at the booth. I would definitely think that booth will have some Cobra Kai representation. But yeah, it just does feel like that there's a chance. Again, we talk about other shows have just debuted, and that's why they won't go. But Cobra Kai, there's a lot of extra reasons that there is a possibility, I think, that they would go. So Cobra Kai and Sandman to me are the most likely of the Netflix shows because of the other studios involved and all these sort of outside factors.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. So for another streaming network,
we should acknowledge that Jurassic World, Chaos Theory. But again,
Chaos
that
Theory
seems to be
coming, but it's DreamWorks.
It's all DreamWorks, right? It airs on Netflix, but doesn't seem like Netflix is the ones bringing these.
No, it does not. Let's talk Hulu and Only Murders in the Building, which last year got a surprise last minute offsite. I mean, it wasn't a big offsite, but still, it had a little bit of an offsite. And then this year, it airs shortly after the convention.
Right.
Do we get something bigger?
Probably not. Only it feels like, there was that era of Comic-Con, right, where some very eclectic shows came that people were like, I like this show, but this is a weird fit. Okay, once upon a time, guys, there was that panel for The Office at Comic-Con. But I think a few years ago, maybe Only Murders would have gotten a panel. I don't see it being likely right now. Just because, it's like, well, yeah, everyone's on the East Coast. And it seems like that just is not the kind of type of show that they bring these days. Not an impossibility, especially because, we can talk a little bit about, FX/Hulu. I mean, The Bear is a confusing show because, again, it's an FX show, but it airs on Hulu, which we know now is going to have a offsite representation. So they do like to mix it up in that sense, right? But I think especially with the fact that they do kind of go big on some of the offsite stuff, I think for them, sometimes they feel like we've covered it. That's the way we cover it. So I would love a Only Murders panel, but I don't think there's a great chance of it.
Wow. We will find out soon enough, and maybe even as soon as tomorrow, because the portal launches tomorrow, and a lot of times Disney TV puts their signings in there, which is a little bit of a dead giveaway for what panels they're going to have.
I didn't know that. That's a good thing to know.
Yes. Okay, well, let's talk about FX since you just mentioned it. So we did get the offsite news today, but as we all know, what's at the offsite isn't always what they bring for panels.
Yeah.
But what do we think FX is going to bring this year for panels?
Trying to think, because they've kind of gone, and some of the things, it's weird because it's no more Archer. It's been years, right, since Always Sunny is gone.
I mean, they have to do What We Do in the Shadows, though, right?
What We Do in the Shadows final season, yeah.
Yeah.
What We Do in the Shadows final season would be a bummer if they didn't go. So I think
they've been so big every time they've done something.
Yeah. So I think that is your very best bet, is What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah. It's funny because I'm trying to think, I'm thinking back, so Shogun was represented last year but didn't panel. Now it is coming back, but I think it's too soon to do anything for what's going to be in the future. And then it's then we think about, I don't think they're going to do The Bear again. If it's all already out there, it's going to be a while before they film the next season. It's not impossible. It's hey, there's a good chance that Ebon's going to be there for a certain movie project that he's one of 4 members of. Maybe they have him pop up at the offsite or something like that. But I don't know if they actually do a Bear panel. I think that they like to do those kind of displays because those, they've gotten pretty cool with those displays they do at that spot. But yeah, I'm trying to think, it's just funny that some of the things that used to be kind of the staples for FX aren't around. It's no more Archer. How can that be? Unless I would love it. We talked about Mythic Quest. It's hey, do they want to finally bring back Always Sunny and you get your Rob McElhenney 2-for-1
I mean Caitlin Olsen might be there for her show.
That's right. So anything's possible. But yeah, I think What We Do in the Shadows is kind of your one. Nothing's a guarantee, but the one I'd be pretty damn surprised if they don't go. Where the rest seems kind of a toss up with this.
So I don't really think this is likely, but we're saying there's at least a possibility that Rob McElhenney will be there. Mm-hmm. There's, I think, a decent chance that Ryan Reynolds will be there. Is there a chance that we get Welcome to Wrexham?
Panel? Probably not, but it is a good point as far as I could see them doing some sort of thing, especially those 2 actors, right? Those 2 guys who are very of the people, kind of like to mix it up. So the only thing I could see panel wise is maybe a weird drop-in moment, right? In the middle of something else, if there is something else FX, maybe they kick it off with a special 5 to 10 minutes shtick of those 2. More likely though, I could see something they do something at on the show floor or at the offsite or something like that. Because yes, I will say I am assuming with Deadpool and Wolverine opening that weekend, they'll do a victory lap and making a lot of money that weekend. There's a very good chance Mr. Poole will be there. But yeah, exactly. I don't think they do a panel, but I could definitely see them doing some sort of some sort of promo there.
Yeah. Hear me out here. They have the lawn out in front of the Bayfront. I mean, impromptu soccer matches.
Oh my God, yes. That would be a good moment. Come out in some soccer uniforms, play a little game. That would be a good Comic-Con moment. So I like the way you're thinking.
Andy, I think this
So-
one's up your alley. You want to?
Okay. So can I ask about Paramount Plus? Do we, I believe Strange New Worlds has finished filming, and I think are they still in post-production or not? But are we thinking that there's a good chance that we see some Star Trek?
Yes. Although I'm still miffed about those damn badges. Being- I'm looking at mine. It's actually sitting right here. Yes, I think they bring Strange New Worlds, and I think they bring I am forgetting what it's called, the Michelle Yeoh TV movie.
Section 31.
Yes, yes. I would assume that and it's Lower Decks final season, right?
Yes.
So I do think they like to do that block. I think those three things, getting a block. Although I really was betting that Star Trek was going to be on the badge when it was Paramount Plus, but they did not. Just put the Enterprise.
Who had no one had what we got on the
Right.
badge.
Right.
That. So what about Discovery? Do we think they'll maybe come for a goodbye, maybe have something to do? But
unlikely, unless there's I don't think so. Unless there's some sort of promo, like, because in the olden days when like home releases were a bigger deal, like maybe they would have brought them for like the box set of the complete series, which I think they're still, they still are putting out stuff like that. I just don't think they do as much hoopla around them. So I don't think, because it's been off the air a few months, I don't think, unfortunately, they get to do the sort of a farewell visit for that one. But still there is still a good deal of Star Trek going on. So yeah, I would be surprised if they don't bring those projects.
And then for some of the Showtime titles, what about maybe Dexter or Yellow Jackets? I know the Yellow Jackets had a big presentation last year.
Yellow Jackets had a big presentation. They are currently filming the new season. And I believe Dexter probably must be about to film, if it hasn't started filming already, given that we heard so much casting so quickly. And certainly, if you look back, Dexter used to be a show that came a lot. That's another one that was weird, where sometimes they would piggyback strange other like weeds and Californication when they had Comic-Con presentation. So yeah, I think that's going to be one of those toss-ups, because they could definitely bring Yellow Jackets and have footage, because they would have been filming long enough. Maybe they'd have footage for Dexter. So I think it's one of those things that if they decide to go if they brought Yellow Jackets, I bet they would do something for Dexter as well. Some sort of like, here's a first clip or something like that. I just wonder, like, yeah, I think it's going to be a timing question for those ones, but you're right. They went pretty big with Yellow Jackets. They did that restaurant had the menu. I had a Yellow Jackets dish at one of them. So yeah, I think that there's a good shot that they bring, if they bring Yellow Jackets, I think that they also do include Dexter in some capacity.
And so the last of the big streamers, Disney Plus.
Mhm.
Now we already talked about some of the Marvel stuff. I'm assuming that we're not going to see any Doctor Who, because again, it's done, and we're not getting anything until Christmas.
Yeah, nothing. Doctor Who would be a surprise, although who knows, because Doctor Who was always such an eclectic one at Comic-Con anyway. Like, are they, will they come? Will they not? Will they take that Sunday spot? But it seems like unlikely given the timing. And then I do think this is where D23 factors in heavier for Star Wars, because kind of conspicuous by its absence has been Skeleton Crew as far as like any promo for it, except that they really haven't brought Star Wars as like a big TV presence forever at Comic-Con, right?
No,
They have the booth. I bet we're gonna get, this is what I'm guessing happens. The booth, they do the thing of the shtick of, here's some costumes from Skeleton Crew, and then D23 gets the trailer debut. That is my guess, just based on how they've treated the Star Wars, especially the Star Wars TV stuff in recent years. It's weird, right? Because they still bring Marvel TV stuff, but the Star Wars TV stuff has felt very separated out from it.
like the only thing we've gotten at all in like 6 or 7 years was the anniversary Clone Wars panel, right?
Yep. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
In the past years, which was funny, right? Because it was they ended up having huge news about the revival, but at the time it still felt like, well, it's because it's a a nostalgia one, that
Yeah.
they're even doing it. Yeah, so I just have a feeling it's going to be the same thing, that like Skeleton Crew will get its big push at D23, but they do like to do the little teases at the booth. They tend to like to, layer in some stuff there. So I have a feeling if we get anything, that's more likely what's going to happen, especially because a D23 year, as we've talked about and seen over and over, doesn't stop them from bringing Marvel, but they definitely seem to separate out the Star Wars.
So to keep talking about Disney TV,
Mhm.
ABC, we have to finally get an in-person panel for Abbott Elementary, right? Like, finally.
They don't literally, as joking again, that they don't literally owe us things, but it feels
They
like
kinda do.
they kind of do on that one. That was a sucky situation. So I would hope. It's an interesting one because again, it's not a typical Comic-Con show. Again, it's a typical Comic-Con show 12 years ago or so when they were like bringing everything. But because they've already shown that it can have a presence there, there is this strange unfinished business with that show at this point.
Well, and
I
they
think,
pushed it so hard on marketing. I mean, it was on Petco Stadium last year with the big wrap. Like, they've had wraps on the trolleys
Yep.
like the last 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
They have one this year. So surely.
Yeah, and it's weird because actually that's a Warner Brothers show, isn't it? It's funny because it airs on ABC, so we think about it as Disney, but I do believe Warner Brothers owns that show. But it does kind of it is a notable show because it's one of the few kind of old school network hits that are even happening right now that aren't like a procedural. It has a big studio behind it and a different studio airing it. They've had so much of a presence at Comic-Con. I think that they're and hopefully some of the people on that show were like, hey, we never win, we wanted to go, we never win. So all those things you hope converge and they can finally do Abbott Elementary. And they've really, like, that show, for what it's worth, like they really have pushed hard and like sort of a lot of different experiences. I remember being at a thing that was like, oh, we recreated a classroom for said, like they like to really push that show. I think because it's been a rare sort of crossover and like had like mainstream appeal in a way that a lot of network shows have struggled with in recent years. So that's a knock on wood one, especially because, as you say, there's just such a strange history to it at Comic-Con.
Well, and speaking of experiences, you may not even know this, but as we pay attention to weird stuff, the trolley this year is actually, it's like carnival themed and it's all about Ava Fest. So we're just about positive, like they're going to do an offsite like for Ava Fest. I mean, the trolley literally talks about like, it's a giant swing and a ball pit. And it's like, well, we're going to have an offsite.
Yeah, I think they have to, right? They have to.
Yeah.
I think that because that show, they really like to lean into that aspect anyway. So that's one thing, is like, sounds like, I did not know that, and that definitely sounds like, okay, the show will be represented at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But the panel portion of it, that's a more like, come on guys, let's do this thing. Let's do this thing that we never got to actually do.
Yeah. So I feel like the one big thing we have not really touched on is NBC and Universal. And I am so curious to see what they put in that spot of formerly the Tin Fish, now Baja Ricks.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know if you've seen, but there's like a giant screen there now too. Like
I did. I saw. Yes, I did see a quick mention of that. Yeah. Speaking of things that were owed and we didn't get, as a huge Chucky fan, A, I want them to announce they've renewed the show, but B, we didn't get the panel that was supposed to happen. So there's one. They can do the 1-2 punch of actually renewing the show and doing the Comic-Con panel. That would be great for me personally. And it's a Universal. And I say they take over Tin Fish. They just do it all.
What about Resident Alien?
Chucky all the time.
Resident Alien is funny because it seems like a little show that could, right? And it got this extra boost on Netflix. It has been renewed, unlike my beloved Chucky. They're not waiting anymore for that one. And it's obviously Comic-Con like friendly, like it makes sense as a property.
It did really well at WonderCon.
Yeah. So I think that is a possibility. Just the fact that they gave it the early renewal. I don't know if they panel it for that. I don't think they've shot anything, But as far as a show that they clearly are happy with, and I think it got that Netflix boost. I remember I was at a panel at TCA that was like the show was coming back like right the week that it had gone on Netflix, and they were very excited about all that. They seemed to be happy with how that all went. So I do think that is a very good possibility for that spot that I think back on the Draculas and the various things that we've seen sitting there.
So many shows.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we have a couple of reader questions that I wanted to get to. Cassandra asked, okay, I'm getting hyped about Leverage Redemption on Prime since Dean Devlin, the showrunner, may be at SDCC with Electric now. What do we think the odds are of Leverage Redemption being there?
They haven't brought it yet, right? I don't think so. I think that show obviously does well for them, but I just don't think, again, it's funny because Once Upon a Time, I think Leverage definitely had that sort of like on the edge, but you could still do it at Comic-Con. But I think as we've seen some scaling back, I think that, yeah, Leverage Redemption, and because it's a few years in and it's like got a dependable audience, but I don't think they necessarily see it as like a Comic-Con show in 2024.
And then Jose asked about Adult Swim, which we haven't had any word on yet, but do we think Adult Swim goes back? They only missed that 1 year when they did that really sad little box in their usual spot. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
So, I mean, they usually have that huge offsite, like back at the convention.
Yeah.
They literally, like, they put up, like, a little box and you could, like, go in and look at it and it was said, like, something. But, I mean, like, it was
It had a little
sad.
flag.
Yeah, it had a little flag.
That is sad. Rick and Morty is interesting because obviously it's perennially popular, and now they got over that hurdle of introducing the new voices, and I feel like in a way it would be nice maybe if they did do it and they could actually have those people do a convention appearance, because they were being kept so secret for so long. So now that they kind of pulled the Band-Aid on that, and it's obviously the show is still going strong, still has more episodes left, because we know that they had this insane renewal a few years ago that they still have at least one more season of. I think that there is a good shot at Rick and Morty. I think it's weird because that show had such turmoil behind the scenes. So it's like, do they feel like, let's just let Rick and Morty speak for itself, or do they want to be like, hey, let's kind of present the future of Rick and Morty with like, here's who's, running the show now. Here's who's voicing the show now. I think it would be cool. Mostly this is one I hope they do, because I think that those voice actors, it'd be great if they can really kind of step into the spotlight now, since they had to be kept so quiet. But yeah, I can see either way of that, because I think that they also maybe don't want to always be asked questions about certain things from their past. So I think I could see them going either way on that one.
And then I have seen a lot of folks in the chat also asking about some CBS shows like Ghosts.
Ghost is now gone. I'm knock on wood for Ghost for sure, because they definitely they've had even last year they did the screening. The year before they did a popular panel. That was right when I got into the show. So I think again, as we get less and less network representation, but it does seem like Ghost is a show that, that they know it's a good fit. They know that they have a star that she has been a Comic-Con regular for many years, and has a lot of deep Comic-Con history, and they're well received there. And it's sort of clearly that screening was in place of what was supposed to be a normal panel last year. So I think that there's a very good shot that Ghost goes again. We also didn't mention, I realized, My Adventures with Superman, which I do think has a chance again. You might once again get sort of the Jack Quaid everywhere. I don't think The Boys is going, but just the fact that with Lower Decks and My Adventures with Superman, I think, and someone who's very popular at Comic-Con, I could see them bringing that one. As we were talking about the fact that there is a pretty good amount of DC animated stuff, I can see them bringing that show as well.
So I just want to know in general, like, what are you most excited for this year? What are you most hoping goes? Like,
I'm most hoping of all the things we've talked about, I would love if Cobra Kai went again, because they've only gone the once. And as a huge Karate Kid fan, right, you can't see it, but there's a Karate Kid poster right there. That's the bottom of it. I think it would be cool to kind of, because there is so much going on this year. There's like this crazy year of like anniversaries and endings and new things. So of all the things we've talked about, I think that's the one. But I'm glad you reminded me of freaking Daredevil Born Again, because I want, just selfishly, I want to see footage from that sucker. And I think we're going to see it this summer, one way or the other at a convention. But I think it'd be great if at Comic-Con, they showed us something from that show.
yeah, absolutely agreed. Well, Eric, we love having you come on every single year. This is always a delight for me because I just love talking TV with anyone. But it's always so fun with you. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
before we have you hop off, though, why don't you tell our readers where they can find you?
Okay, so now that I'm in my freelance era, I used to be able to just say like one site and it was so simple.
I know.
I know, but I got a Substack at ericgoldman.substack.com, and I got a YouTube at the Eric Goldman, and most of my socials are the Eric Goldman. So on Twitter, I refuse to call it X. On Twitter, I'm the Eric Goldman. On Instagram, I'm the Eric Goldman. Those are the biggies. So ericgoldman.substack.com, the Eric Goldman, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's always such a fun time here. I feel bad because I feel like in years past I could be so much more confident when we knew Warner Brothers was going to bring all those things. I was like, well, they're definitely, and I'd be right, and it wasn't because it wasn't that hard to be right. But now we're in a much more murky place. But I guess that also can be fun in its own way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, also, I want to say for anybody who likes The Acolyte, you are doing weekly reviews of them.
Yeah, I'm doing reviews at IGN. And you can find me.
Yes.
I'm freelancing again. Yes, if you're familiar with me for a long time, I was full-time at IGN. I am not. It's funny. I have to keep answering questions because people are like, "Are you back at IGN?" I'm like, "Well, not full-time at IGN, but I am writing reviews for them and writing some other features for them." So you can find my stuff there as well.
Yes. Well, go read Eric's stuff and go join his Substack. All right. Well, thank you so much again, Eric. I hope that we run into you at Comic-Con because we usually do.
Yes.
And
look forward to it.
Thank you again.
Thanks again, guys. You do great work. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, Eric.
Bye.
Thanks, Eric. It's always fun. I love when Eric comes on.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
A mountain of news.
My
I know, because I wrote most of it.
But ours
okay
more than just blue.
Yeah, our mountain will indeed be more than just blue. Okay, let's get into it. So, as we mentioned earlier today, the biggest news of the day, in my opinion, is that The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, will be back in Hall H. They are set for a panel on Friday at 11:05 a.m. With the showrunners and cast. There will also be a meet and greet at Venue 808, which is where they did the Prime After Dark last year. So it's a big venue. And they will have curated props and wardrobe that will be in conjunction with the OneRing.net. No word yet on where to score entry to that. I would probably make sure you're following the OneRing.net if that is something that you are interested in. And the meet and greet is in the afternoon. It's at like 1:45 p.m. But I also just want to say that leaves the night wide open. And do you know what night is wide open on Friday? The rooftop cinema, where Amazon has held screenings before. So that that might make sense for a screening. I truly don't know, and maybe they wind up doing Batman Cape Crusader instead, or maybe it's not even Amazon, but that sure makes sense to me. So we'll see.
All right. And we have, with a Hall H panel, what that means we also will be having the Hall H wristbands. Those are coming back. I don't think that anything really is changing, as usual.
Well, the one thing that we probably do need to mention is that there is no Saturday night wristband distribution, which would be for Sunday panels.
Right.
So, is Hall H not open on Sunday?
Or is it just not? Maybe they found out last year that it just wasn't worth handing out wristbands because there weren't enough people in line.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely a possibility. So I think either of those two are possible, but I'm very curious to see how Hall H shakes out on Sunday, or if
Yeah.
it shakes out.
I mean, it used to be, the trifecta of Glee, Supernatural, and Doctor Who, and that was, overnight must wait. And now, it's
You're going back if we're bringing up Glee,
right. That's the last time I waited overnight for Hall H on
school.
Sunday.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did once wait overnight for Doctor Who. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Okay, we have had so many questions about the hold space for up to 2 people rule. So James, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so that means like if you're a body in line, then you can hold 2 other people, right? That's it. That means only 2 people can join you. Now, so if you have a group of 10 people, you need to make sure that there's like 4 of you staying at all times if you're playing by the rules.
Yeah.
That's
So
the simple
again,
thing.
yeah, that's the simple thing. So again, like each individual person can hold space for up to 2 additional people. So like if you have 2 people in line, then you can have up to like 4 people because each of these 2 is holding space for 4. So it's not like all but 2 of your group have to be there. Just wanted to make that very clear because we have had a lot of questions.
Do the math. 1 person equals 3 total people, themselves and 2 others. So however that divides out, always round up.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's 3.1, round up.
Yes.
I like to do my little rhyme. You plus 2 or 3, not you.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. But there's nothing, like I said, nothing really changed. 7:30 or 8 o'clock is when they start handing them out. But, I mean, most people know that depending on where you are in line is how long you have to wait for the blinky blinks to make it to you to hand out the wristbands.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Andy, you got to do something pretty cool last week. Do you want to talk about that?
This was a lot of fun to do. So we're bringing the chimichangas. I got to go down to the MTS station and take some pictures of the new Deadpool and Wolverine plus Jack in the Box trolley wrap, celebrating their new menu item, the mini chimmy, bang bangs. Of course, that's when I go. And okay, Carrie, can you take this one?
Yes, I can. Yeah, so Andy got to go. He got some great photos and some footage. It's really fun trolley wrap. We at the U-Blog love anything fast food related, and it's like Deadpool, like did graffiti all over the truck. It's really cute. But we do know that Jack in the Box is going to be doing something special at the convention. They haven't fully announced yet. Marvel's supposed to finish up that announcement, but stay tuned for that, I guess. So,
but it was cool because Andy, like, you got to take pictures, right? They rolled out the trolley and you got to take all kinds of pictures. And then they do like a let's redo it, and like you got to do video for a reveal and all.
Yeah, so they were incredibly nice down there. They'd already had the trolley out of the garage, so we were taking our pictures and stills and whatnot. And I just asked them if they had any plans to move it, from here to there or whatever. And originally they said no, but they said, but we could pull it back into the garage and have it pull out like a slow reveal. And I said, okay, if that's not too much, if it's not going to cost you guys money or whatever. They said, let's do it. And they were incredibly accommodating. They were very nice. And we got some great footage and we got some great pictures. So I'm really appreciative of them having me down there.
Yeah, absolutely. We greatly appreciate the MTS for doing that. And you got some great footage.
Thank you.
The Dragon Prince is coming to the convention. We found out a little while ago that the co-creator confirmed they would be there, and he said that they were going to be doing something special that they'd never done. And I'm pretty sure what that something special is what got announced over the weekend, which is that the panel is happening on Saturday at 10:30 a.m., room 6 BCF, but fans will be treated to a look back at the 6th season, teases about the new season, and then a look at the upcoming game. But they will also be giving away a pen for the Dragon Prince Zadia game, which is coming from Netflix Games from What's Your Passion Jewelry. So if you go to that panel, you get a free pen, which is cool.
Well, another fandom that is one of my personal favorites that's coming back is Winona Earp. You guys might remember this show from a few years ago. Ran into some issues with funding, and they got kind of cut short. They could have had a few more seasons, but unfortunately, with the funding issues, they kind of ground to a halt. But they decided to give Winona Earp a proper send-off, and they made a little TV movie called Winona Earp Vengeance. It's a 90-minute special that's going to be on Tubi, and they're going to have a panel for it on Saturday, July 27th from 1:45 to 2:45 in room 6A. You guys don't want to go because I'm going to be there. So yeah, just save a spot. Save a spot. And then after that, I think you guys threw my name on this because I'm the only other person on here with a kid.
That is correct.
For the record, mine's 25, so she kind of aged out of this article, but two of our contributors, Robert, Legion of Sand, and Kim, Outside Comic Con, they drafted up and sent out a guide to bringing the little ones to the con. I didn't get a chance to read through it, like I said, since mine is a little bit older, but from them discussing it in the chat, I know that they've got tips and tricks on, where you can park your stroller. Now that there isn't going to be childcare, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. So yeah, this is a really great post for anyone with little ones who is wondering, okay, can I still bring my kids to Comic-Con? Yes, you can. There's a ton of stuff for them to do, and there are tips and tricks to help you navigate a little bit better.
And as far as guides go, we've got another Parks and Cons guide. They put together a guide to the exhibit floor now that the map is out. And so it's, navigating the floor, how to get around maybe a little bit more efficiently, where to go to line up best for getting swag early in the morning, autographs and whatnot. So you can check it out on the site and on YouTube.
And to continue the theme of Parks and Cons guides, he's also put out a beginner's guide. So if this is your first time at the convention, he walks you through all the basics. So like how panels work, how autographs work, how the show floor works, and so much more. And just in general, like whether this is your first or your 50th convention, Sean and Carmel's video guides are so helpful and so fun, and they update them every year. And I always love them. Like, I watch as many of these as I can. He also does these really fun live shows leading up to the convention. So if you've never checked any of those out, I highly recommend it. Like, even if you're like, oh, well, I've been going for so long, like, I know all about Comic-Con. Like, yeah, you probably do, but he's got some really fun tips that maybe you hadn't thought of, or like restaurant recommendations or different things. So highly, highly recommend you check out that video series. We also, if you do not yet have a hotel for your San Diego Comic-Con stay, the Gaslamp Hostel is offering our readers 20% off any night stay between Wednesday and Sunday of the convention. So use code SDCCblog20 to get 20% off. So that's pretty cool.
And Comic-Con International revealed the cover of the program book, the souvenir book, this year. It is by fan favorite artist Joe Jusko, and he will be a special guest as well. Now, this one
digital.
is still going to be only digital?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's digital, so you can't pick up a copy when you pick up your other stuff. So sorry about that. But hey, if you want to see the cover, go take a look, and you can also download the digital version. I think you can probably get it through the app or from the site. There's probably multiple ways you can get it.
Yeah, it's for sure. It will be on the site. It's not yet, but it will be. Let's talk Penguin Random House. So we know there are a lot of you who love all the different book and author areas at Comic-Con, and Penguin Random House is one of the biggest with their book world. It is back. They have tons of signings, book giveaways. Like they've even got free totes and audio books and all different kinds of things, including lots of awesome authors like Katie Cook, Robin Hobb, Kirsten White. You can find all of that information on our site, including their panels. Do we have some reader questions?
Just the one I noticed, I wanted to cover since it's happening tomorrow. So forgive me, I probably will butcher the name, but Kwang Nguyen asked, how would you guys recommend approaching the exclusives portal selections with so many companies still having not yet released their exclusives? And the easy answer is don't do it tomorrow when it opens. Wait a little bit of time. You have many days that you can wait and see what happens and find out what exclusives are being revealed, and give yourself some time for changes to happen and for things to settle, because every time it opens, something goes wrong, it seems, or just little bugs happen. And so give time for those to be fixed.
It is open through the 18th. So if it's opening on the 9th, so you have like 9 to 10 days to do this. So truly, what I recommend every single time is go check that you have access, because there have been issues in the past where like sometimes volunteers don't see that they have access. So you do want to make sure you give yourself enough time to like contact Comic-Con if you truly have no access. But if you do, just don't touch it. Like they will make changes. They will delete things, like they will add stuff, they will do all kinds of stuff. And as James said, it has glitches every single year. So if you just wait like 3 days, it'll work itself out. They'll have already made some changes, and then you can submit like a day or two before the end. And you will have a much calmer and more pleasant experience.
So you log in on sometime the first day, anytime the first day, not when it opens, just sometime the first day. Log in, be like, hey, I can log in, it works. And then don't do anything else. Log out.
And then like you can look at it.
A few days later, log in again and submit. That's the
sound
best.
like my parents. Look, but don't touch.
Right? Yeah.
Literally, no one listening is going to take our advice. I just want you to know that. I know it.
Someone will. Just one person will take our advice, and then we'll have done our duty.
Okay, you keep telling yourself that. Okay. Well, we've had tons. I know. Speaking from many years of experience here, Andy. We have had tons of other news on the site, and I'm gonna run down some of it real quick. The Jurassic World Chaos Theory, we got information on the panel, which is set for, I think, Sunday. Yes, Sunday in a small room. It's in 60E with a whole bunch of cast members. You can find that information up on the site. The audio drama True Noir will be in a larger room in 6A on Thursday, along with actor Anthony LaPaglia and more. Mattel announced their booth activities, including like Street Sharks, TBD tomorrow, I guess, on if Mattel's booth activities are part of the portal, because they have been in the past. We know that actor David Dastmalchian will also be at the convention. I'm very much assuming it is to promote his Count Crowley, however we say it, comic, so he will probably be signing at Dark Horse, but TBD on that. And speaking of signings, we launched our autograph signing list. So Johnny Dew is on our team, and Johnny puts together this list for the last 2 years. Thank you, Johnny, because I don't want to. And it is phenomenal. So if you've never been to the convention, San Diego Comic-Con is not like any other convention. Like, there's not a set way that autographs are done. Every single booth has their own procedures. Every single booth has their own panel or their own signing schedule. Like, everybody is different. So we do our very, very best to compile all of that information into one easy to find place. And it is a huge resource for everybody. Storm Comics announced their panel and signing schedule, as well as giveaways, so you can check that out on the site. And then we also got news of another panel today, which is the independent film The Tower. It is a fantasy drama. It's basically a mermaid movie, and several of the film's cast will be in attendance, including actress Bella Thorne, Jack Kilmer, Cam Giganette, and more. So that's very exciting. And that covers the basics of the news.
So that means up next is Offsites. And I think most of these are the ones that Carrie is very much looking forward to. So Carrie, handle this one.
All right. I am so freaking hyped for FX this year. Honestly, like this is like my dream lineup at the FX offsite. FX does a fantastic offsite every year, and I always really enjoy it. But I am frankly shocked and delighted that they are doing something for the Bear, which I did not think was going to happen because the Bear already finished airing its season. So why would you bring it? But they're going to do a pop-up restaurant for the Bear. However, I do think it needs to be noted that, like it says, fans will be served up a daily chef special featuring exclusive merch. So I do not know that like what they're serving up is food.
I doubt it. It doesn't sound like food to me.
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like merch. Now, what it might be is last year for What We Do in the Shadows, they had like some frozen treats like that came in like a packaged thing. So I mean, it might be something like that. And that was both food and an exclusive. So it might be like that. But I don't think it's going to be like, let's go sit down at this restaurant. Like, I don't think it's going to be that. But still, it's something for the Bear. I'm very excited about that. Attendees will also be able to visit. They'll have What We Do in the Shadows. They're going to set up like their Staten Island mansion with props from the series, and then It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which has not had a presence at all at the convention in several years. They'll have a photo op outside the bar. And then I'm really curious about this one. Of course, FX has to do something horror related, and this year they will have the FX Fearless Elevator, which says, as you ride through 12 spine-chilling moments from the American Horror Story universe and get a glimpse into the world of grotesquerie, which is the new Ryan Murphy show coming this fall. James.
My first thought on this was, they're not going to build like a dark ride, right?
Right? That was mine as well. I'm like, I don't understand how this is going to work.
Then my second thought was, this isn't going to be a Watchmen booth again situation, is it? Where they just put you in an elevator, and then there's a screen that just like big screen that just shows you stuff and like acts like
don't
you're
say
in an
that.
elevator.
Don't say
and I'm
that.
like, you know what? I really hope it's somewhere in between there. I mean, not quite the elevator with a screen, but also, I mean, you can't build a dark ride. So just do something.
No, they totally can't build like a dark ride, nor are they going to build like a 12-story like
right? They're not going to build an elevator.
No, they're not. So I have no idea how this is going to work, and that's why I'm very curious. But I love all these shows, and I'm very excited to see what the heck they do. We have more offsites, don't we, James?
We do. Next up is Stern Pinball is back. They are over in the Marriott Marquis Hotel again. They will be there from Thursday through Saturday from 10 to 7 and Sunday from 10 to 2. It'll be your first chance to play the new John Wick game that they're coming out with. It's officially licensed. And you don't need a badge to actually go over there. So head on over and play some pinball if you don't have a badge for a day. You'll be inside. It'll be air conditioned. It'll be awesome.
Big fan of all those things. Voodoo Ranger is bringing the pirate ship back. It will be open Thursday through Sunday, but different hours each day, so make sure you pay attention to those. And as per usual, it's a tall ship, and you can go buy beer, and all of the proceeds benefit Landfest, which is an organization focused on building healthy communities through gaming. So, I mean, it's a pirate ship. You're drinking beer. It's fun. Why would you not? And then there's also an Our Flag Means Death fan meetup, which I co-host along with Lizzie. And that will be on Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So come join us.
All right. And I guess I will take the Pudgy Penguins Pudgy World. Try saying that 5 times real fast. I don't think I could. It's a digital community of cute, chubby NFT penguins planning to spread their good vibes across the meta and also San Diego Comic-Con 2024. So you'll find them both on the show floor at booth, Carrie, what's that number? 4215, I'm hoping. That's a Z in there.
I mean, I mean, that's what they said.
They're going to be at booth 4215 Zulu. And Zulu is a phonetic alphabet for those of you that were in the military. And off the show floor, they'll also be at 327 4th Avenue offering Pudgy World, the 4-day pop-up installation that allows congoers to check out limited SDCC merch and tasty treats for sale. And that'll be
It isn't.
Yeah,
it is
Thursday to
indeed
Sunday.
4215. It is indeed 4215. No Z.
Okay. Okay, so no Z at the end. Don't go looking for the Z. But
That's what
do
they
go looking for
posted.
Pudgy World.
Yes. We also have tons of cosplay photo shoots, including there's like a Wizard of Oz / Wicked one, Barbie, an all Luigi one. There's all kinds of photo shoots. So if you are a cosplayer, you can find all of that and more. We also have a question from Xavier Behavior in the chat who says, will the IMDb boat be there this year? I'm just going to answer this. Yes, it will. Details soon.
What?
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 So, details soon.
There you go. Okay. Is it time for exclusives?
It's time for exclusives.
I put up the exclusive slide, so I'm guessing it's time for exclusives. All right. First up, we have now, as you can see, if you're watching this, this is some cool stuff. UCC Distributing. This is 4 items on the slide. There's a Fuggler, a Batman cell, some Doorables, and a Squishmallow. Now, this is like what, roughly 1/5, like 1/20th of the stuff that they have. There's so much stuff. You have to check it out on the site. They have multiple Doorables. They have some stuff from Gravity Falls, some plushes. They have pins from Chainsaw Man. They have like 6 different Fugglers, those hairy Fugs, those things, I don't even have a clue what they are, but they have human-looking teeth, and that weirds me out. They have, let me see, a bunch of Squishmallows. They have, let me see here, Rainbow Friends plushes. They've got some Poppy Playtime stuff. They have, oh my goodness, so many things.
So many.
The Amazing Digital
many.
Circus plush. They have some Marvel Funko trading cards. They have these limited edition cells, like the Batman winner. They have multiple ones of these. They are actually limited edition, and they have certificate authenticities and all that. They have some Batman, Joker, Scooby-Doo, Powerpuff Girls. You got multiple Doorables, including a Stitch pack and a Star Wars pack. They have a what is this? This is a SpongeBob SquarePants Color Me Happy plush, an Invader Zim plush, Deadpool lanyard. Oh my goodness! And then there's like Squishmallow galore. Squishmallow.
Yeah.
Hello Kitty
the list
Advent
goes
calendars. One Piece. They have a One Piece Luffy Jumbo Tsunamis. They have okay. Now here's the problem. Here's another slide. Thankfully, there's another slide because we have Godzillas.
So many Godzillas.
So many Godzillas. Now you see there's this Mothra plush, but it's a blacklight plush that's in pink. But there's multiple blacklight plushes. There's a green version and an orange version. So this is like the Stitches from last year. There's multiple versions of the same plush. And then we have like, I don't know, 6 different Godzilla plushes from
I will say,
to colors
you guys,
to cute.
You guys put like the normal looking Godzillas on here. I like the ones that look like real wonky. Like some of them do not look right, and I love them.
The Godzilla original 6-inch plush, I think, is the one you're talking about. You said it looks like a hippo.
It looked like a hippo. It does
really
look like a hippo.
If you
I love
turn
it
sideways, go to the site, download the picture, and then rotate it on your phone, and just
it looks like a hippo.
And it's a hippo. Yeah. Maybe they just repurposed some other plush and they recolored the
I love that thing.
There's Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I mean, come on. There's Disney Munchlings like this Mickey here that's on the picture, a super sizzling cheese puff Mickey 10-inch plush. Oh my goodness. I'm still scrolling, by the way, reading the site. There's some Gravity Falls plushes, both Mabel and Dipper, 18-inch plushes, more adorables. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's about it. That's all the stuff.
And
that's enough.
they have more still to come. We
Oh
are
my goodness.
not done.
What?
We are not done.
Holy cow.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
All right. Somebody needs to chill every once in a while, maybe. You know, let's bring less than 100 things, folks. Less.
Nah.
Less is more, man.
Yeah, exactly. All right. That's it.
No, more is more. That's the Comic-Con motto. All right, Andy, do you want to take this next one?
Oh, another long list of exclusives that we have is Monogram International. Let's see here. Our slide, we've got Snow White 3D foam bag clip box set, which features 16, oh my goodness, 3D foam bag clips, including Snow White, Prince Charming, the Evil Queen in both her more beautiful form and her hag form, all 7 dwarves, the Magic Mirror, and several of Snow White's woodland friends, as well as Prince Charming's horse. Get the entire set for $120, which comes packaged in collector packaging and is only limited to 100. The next one is the Care Bears Universal Monsters Deluxe Gift Set, which includes a lanyard featuring Grumpy Bear as Frankenstein, or Frankenstein as I like to pronounce it. Good Luck Bear is the creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a 3D foam bag clip of Grumpy Bear in case you didn't get enough with the 16 before, as well as enamel pins of the other 3 Care Bears as Universal Monsters. You can pick this up for $40, which is only limited to a release of 300. So not a lot there. Do we have another slide?
Yep.
No, that's it. That's all the new stuff.
Das ist alles?
There's too many. So we also got new exclusives from Toddland, who showed off their Family Guy exclusives. They have new tees, new pens, new stickers, and they will also have a Rupert plush, which will be debuting at the convention. Just like with the Bob's Burgers plush, this will be a timed release, which means that it will be available starting preview night. It will be available both online and at the booth. But if you go to the booth and you pre-order, you will also get a special item that is only available for having pre-ordered it physically at the booth. And then they will also have a special pen of Stewie and Brian that will also only be at the booth. However, the rest of them you can go pre-order now for shipping on the shirts because we passed the deadline, and then the pens and the totes, I think you still have time to pre-order if you want to pick up at the convention.
And then we have Comic-Con's own merch. They revealed all of their stuff, and it's a lot. Again, it's I think we are definitely on the more is more plan here. This is just a little bit of it. They have the 2024 8-inch superhero toucan plush toy. That's going to be $24.99. We have a wide selection of shirts and long sleeve shirts and hoodies and the key ring that you can see there. I mean, there's hats. There's a lot of stuff. I think some of the long sleeves they have, they look like Spirit jersey, Comic-Con versions of the Spirit jersey that you normally see at Disneyland. There's actual baseball looking jerseys that kind of model after the San Diego Padres colorings. And they have socks, and they have an acrylic magnet set, and they have shorts and sweatpants and a stemless wine glass and a corkcircle daydream tumbler. So all of that stuff is available on the Comic-Con site.
Yes, absolutely. I'll take this next one. Diamond Previews showed off several exclusives, and you guys put the best 2 on there. So we have lots of new items, including some U2s for Spider-Man, some comics, including there's a Chitara, which is on the screen right now. There's a Destro. There's a Spawn kills every Spawn. But for my money, the best 2 items in these latest batches are, one, there is a It's Jeff, the Land Shark plush, which is freaking adorable for $20. And then they do a Doctor Who exclusive comic every year, and it's usually like vaguely themed around Comic-Con. But I freaking love this cover. It's way more themed than normal. It shows the Doctor and the gas lamp, and it's just really fun. And
Yeah, it
this
looks
may
really
actually,
nice.
it's, yeah, like this is for sure the nicest Doctor Who comic at the convention that they have ever done. I love it. And I think I'm actually gonna have to go pick this and Jeff up. So there's a whole bunch more stuff. I mean, they're another one who just has like a million exclusives. If you go and you look, there's just so much, you guys, and
won't some
they're
of their
not
exclusives-
done.
Yeah, won't some of their exclusives also be at a variety of booths around the convention because they're available to dealers? Is that one of these deals?
So normally, yes, but I think they're doing it a little bit differently this year. You can pick all these up at Previews and Fandom World booth 2401, or you can do it through your comic book retailer.
Okay.
But I hear that they are not letting comic book retailers purchase them or order them this year until like maybe actually preview night, but I think it's pretty late. So I actually don't know that other booths are going to have these items like normal. So if you
Okay.
want these at the convention, go to 2401. If not, each of these exclusives like has a number. So write down that number, take it to your comic book shop, and see if they can order it for you.
There you go.
All right. And you guys mind if I take this one?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
All right. I just like saying twink. We've got twink up next, and they've got a couple of new ones, including the Army of Darkness Ash's chainsaw, because good, bad, he's the guy with the gun, and he's also got the chainsaw. It's an an electronic prop replica. So being someone with kids, I'm not sure about that one, so that's going to be fun. It will be debuting at SDCC, and it'll be at Syndicate Collectibles. The next, there is the Bratz 40-ounce stainless steel tumbler with handle. You got the Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Buffy and Gang short sleeve tee. That'll be debuting at Comic-Con this year. The let's see, Mickey Mouse 40-ounce tumbler. We don't have that up there. What else we have here?
So much stuff.
Scrolling,
It's like
so
as-
much
almost as
scrolling.
much
Oh,
as
there he is.
VTC.
Dragon's Lair 16-inch collector plush toy. That'll be $30 at booth 4344, 3749, and 121. And your last one there is something X-Men.
I think that one's going to be one of the coolest things that they come out with
Yeah.
this year.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. The enamel pin for $12 at booth 121 and 3849. Yeah, that
And
looks amazing.
They're big. Yeah. Like this is not a small
Yeah.
pen.
You look on the site, there's a picture of someone holding the pin and it fills up their entire palm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
It
like
is.
that right here.
Yeah, they had other photos of people basically like wearing it like a belt buckle. Like that's how big it is. I didn't put those up, but I thought that was funny. But they've got tons of other items too, like in the post. They've got some really fun Futurama plush, which we showed off the other day. And I mean, God, it's another one with like, here's 75 items. So go check those out.
Yeah. All right. And then next up, we have Yesterday's with a few pins that they're going to be selling at the show. We have the FAI Art pin, limited 200 for $10. The Coexist pin, also 200 limited for $10. The Ace of Hearts pin, limited to 300 and $10. The 1959 Cadillac pin, limited to $210. The Shogun pin, 200 pieces and $10. And the Vought pin, limited $210. And also, we found out that the Yesterday's mystery boxes will be back at their booth. You can pick one up for $20 at their booth, 1028, and each box will have 5 pins from their archive. Plus, you could score a brand new Chase pin, which is still to be revealed which one. And I think in past years, it's been like a gold Batmobile pin, or sorry, a super cool car pin.
So it actually, I think it has been revealed. They will have a gold version of that Ghostbusters Cadillac.
Oh, nice. I didn't
Yeah,
see that.
yeah. That came later.
Later. Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. And then next up.
All right. Andy, you want this one or you want me to?
No, I got this one. Artist Chris Mays is doing his reveals again this year. You guys might remember he did them last year as well. He'll have a total of 17 reveals for his Comic-Con exclusive prints. The first one here we've got is from The Crow. Gosh, man, this one hits. This is my generation, and it hits hard. The Crow was my whole scene back then, so this is definitely going to be something I look at. It's a 5x7 giclée print featuring Brandon Lee's iconic visage, his makeup, on Entrada. I hope I'm saying that right. Entrada rag, bright 300 cotton archival fine paper. You can get that for $15 from booth 2103. And then he also has Koi is the next one, Silver Surfer. This one is one of my favorites. The Indiana Jones silhouettes that he has out here, those are amazing. Those are going to be they'll be 5x5 prints, and they're going to run $20 each. There is also Sling. This is just a silly little thing, kind of like a Wile E. Coyote takeoff, but kind of how life feels sometimes when everything's working against you, but you still try anyway. It's a 5x7 print that'll be at booth 2103 for $15. Next is This Is the Way Series 3. You might remember he had that one. He had these before, but he's going to have a 3-piece set highlighting some of the little humorous ways that Mando has been raising Grogu during his lifetime. Each one is going to be 5x5, and they'll cost $20 each at booth 2103.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this one because I don't know that I've ever been as excited about a Super 7 exclusive as I am about this one. I think it's really fun. So they are doing a Wonka bar exclusive, which is based on the Gene Wilder version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And what it is it's basically a blind box figure in Wonka bar packaging. And when you get it and you open it up, you've got two options. You could get one, a chocolate Wonka, which looks like he is encased kind of in a chocolate bar, which is awesome packaging just in general. But then they also you have a 1 in 8 chance of scoring a metallic gold figure that comes with a golden ticket. And I just think this is so fun. Like, I love this. Yeah. So it's limited to 200 figures. No word yet on pricing, but for my money, this is like the best thing Super 7 has ever brought to the convention. And then they did some other stuff, like some Conan and some G.I. Joes. We're not going to talk about them.
That Joe figure is really cool looking, though.
Yeah.
Grayscale.
Yeah.
But public service announcement: if you get that golden ticket, don't run through the convention center yelling or singing, "I've got a golden ticket." You'll get in trouble. You can't run through the convention center. They don't like it. You get in trouble.
Yeah.
Probably. They have to catch you, right?
Hey, they always tell me no running. Or maybe that's because I'm 5. I don't know.
No. Okay, I will take this next one. Because it's pens and jewelry. So What's Your Passion Jewelry has some really fun items this year. We showed off the other day, but they've got some really cute like Care Bears with line starts here pens. I think those are awesome. But then they've also got some Neopets pens this year, and their Neopets pens did really well last year. They will be available both online and at the convention starting Wednesday. And one of the coolest things, well, there's two cool things. One is that all of the pens come with an in-game code. So you can actually get like an item within the game as well as your physical pen. And then if you spend $45 or more on Neopets merch, either online or at the booth, you will also get a free Starry paintbrush pen, free with purchase. So that's pretty cool. They've also got, in addition to the normal pens, they've got a trio set, which features a 25th anniversary Neopets lanyard paired with 2 mini glitter, I'm going to mispronounce these, Aisha and Shoru pens. And you can get all of those again, either online or at the booth. And then they also have a new Dragon Prince collection, which they are debuting at the con, as well as that free pen for the panel, which we talked about earlier. And more to come.
All right. Okay, so the last slide we have is for furry feline creatives and their Jebby Butt Nuggets handmade plushies. And I just wanted to be able to say that today. So there you go. They're at booth 4435. There will be 2 different versions. There's regular and spicy. They're $45 a set, and they will feature the case, the 3 little plushies, and the dipping sauce, which I think is pretty fun. So you can check those out. They'll also have a t-shirt that is available for $29.99. You can pre-order it online now for pickup at the show or for shipping. Same thing with the plushes. And the front of the shirt is shown. It's basically just a little graphic about with the butt nuggets, but the back, it says making the world giggle 1 wiggle at a time. So there you go. Fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Okay, we had a couple of reader questions. Jeremy in the chat asked, when are we finding out what secret Toddland booth is? I mean, first we have to get through the rest of the booths that we know about. Like, we haven't even seen the items yet for Futurama and American Dad. So fingers crossed that those items come here fairly soon. And then I would assume that the other booth will probably come like next week. So but I do know what it is, and it's exciting, and I think everybody's going to be really psyched for it. So let me do my weekly rundown of other exclusives that we have. We have a whole bunch of other items up on the site. As always, you can find all this information on our exclusives tab. But Butts on Things is going to, they announced 2 new pens, including a Volkswagen and a Stanley Cup. Alex Pardee showed off a whole bunch of new merch for this year, including new tees, screen prints, pens, toys, as well as 2 trading cards yet to be revealed. Image Comics announced their exclusives for the year, as well as their signing schedule. Their signing schedule includes talent like Daniel Warren Johnson, Scotty Young, Jeff Johns, Jeff Lemire, Dustin Nguyen, Todd McFarlane, and more, as well as exclusives from several of those folks. 100% Soft will be joining the portal for the first time ever tomorrow. So stay tuned for news on their exclusives. But yes, if you want their little dumpster fires, and you know you do, they will be part of the portal this year. Patrick Ballesteros has shown off a couple of new items, including a Godzilla slip mat for your record player, as well as the final piece of his Mr. Williams opus, which is his tribute to John Williams. Tamashii Nations announced their booth procedures this year, which is the same as it's been the last couple of years, which is that you have to make the trek over to the Marriott Marquis to get a ticket with a return time to go to the booth. I know that it's not a lot of people's favorites, but it is what it is. Octo is celebrating the 40th anniversary of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom with some new pens this year. Martin Sue has shown off a couple of new items. His store reopens on July 12th. He showed off some Cat X-Men pieces today, and he's been showing off some new Bridgerton cats, as well as a mashup with Studio Ghibli. Naoka Mullally has shown off a couple of prints. Her What We Do in the Shadows pens are sold out online, but you can still get them at the booth. But she also showed off new prints for Star Wars with a really pretty holographic droids print, as well as a Storm iridescent holographic print. You can pre-order both of those online. McFarlane Toys has been showing off tons of DC exclusives, which we assume will be at the DC booth, including like a Bruce Wayne and Ace figure, some Batman Superman and Wonder Woman figures, and more. Again, all that information is up on the site. Monkey Minion has been announcing their items, including some new pens, some new prints. If you like their Borbs series, they've got some new ones of those. Hyperactive Monkeys has been showing off their exclusives, including like stationery sets, some Sofubi toys inspired by 80s stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, a new book, and more. Chris Uminga showed off a new print for Transformers that you can get as his booth. JYK Day has been showing off some new originals as well as some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sticker stay, and he will also be having a pop-up shop at Kamikaze Comics the Saturday before Comic-Con. So if you want to pick up your items early, you can do it there. Symbiote Studios showed off some of their plush, including they've got some mascots. So they're Catnip Bravo. If you've ever gone and played like rock, paper, scissors at their booth, that's Catnip Bravo. They will have a plush of him. Atomic Toy Box showed off their Garbage Pail Kids exclusives for this year, which include some screen prints and more. Effin' Birds, you can stop by the booth to pick up a free bookmark. You can find that on the site. Wolfgang Industries announced the last of their exclusives, which include some new totes for Deadpool. They've got a Deadpool and Wolverine print, as well as some Has-Been Hotel items. KRS Comics has been showing off tons of new comics exclusives from some awesome talent. You can find all of that on the site, including a signing with Will Jack. More Great Art also has tons of comics exclusives at their booth for lots of different things. Bling Squared makes Blown Glass, and they've got a lot of little originals. All of those are one-of-one pieces, including they're doing some fun like D&D versions this year. Titan Entertainment, they've got a whole lot more coming, but we got the first of their announcements, including a huge detective cover as revealed by Bleeding Cool. And then we also know that we will get a debut for their Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze comic, as well as Jimi Hendrix's sister will be in attendance at the convention. So I'm assuming that we'll probably also get a panel. Plastic Empire showed off 2 of their exclusives, including one by Dave Perillo. Very cute stuff. Priscilla Wilson showed off a wallet today that includes our 2 original characters in a ship by the convention center. We always love theme stuff around actual Comic-Con. And then finally, in this very long list, Cryptozoic showed off their Golden Goddess statue, which is for a Batgirl classic TV series that will go up for pre-order this Thursday, and you can pick it up at the booth. Thank you.
Wow.
Carrie, are you hiring yourself out for auctioneer services anytime soon?
That was 25 different companies exclusives shortened down into that one long.
I can do this all day.
I know, right? Crazy.
Oh, okay, Steve Rogers.
Okay. This is what I can do. So, okay. Do this again next week.
All right. So we had a question like before we even started today, and it's also up on Twitter, and I wanted to answer this. Kind of, but not really. Sorry. Dan Nguyen asked, with Marvel coming back to Hall H, what time should I line up for on Friday for a wristband for Saturday? I don't care about good seats. I just want to be in Hall H. Well, who knows? Probably early on Friday is going to get you in, maybe, but we are going to talk about this on Friday and Sunday because we have our Breaking Down the Schedule podcast coming up this week as the schedule drops. So, listen to those because you're going to want to know about all the other stuff and all the other things in the schedule in case you don't make it in, so you know what to go to and all that kind of information. But yeah, we break down the schedule 6:30 Pacific like normal on Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific on Sunday will be our part 1 and part 2 of Breaking Down the Schedule podcasts.
Yep. We have, I just wanted to do some quick housekeeping notes. First of all, actually, I wanted to talk about Prize Mule. So Prize Mule is back. For anybody who doesn't know, it's a thing that we do on Twitter where we have a stuffed mule, or in one case, a stuffed dragon. And we post a photo of it kind of in a location. We don't say exactly where it is, along with a prize from an awesome company. And the tweet will have some kind of a direction, like maybe a phrase you have to say. But if you come and you find it, you win the prize. And we get so many amazing donations from some really awesome companies. And we are so excited to be bringing it back again this year. And let me just take a second to read off the list so far, which includes items from Alex Pardee, Bandai Namco Toys and Collectibles, Committed Comics, Diamond Select Toys, Disguise, Factory Entertainment, Figpen, Hasbro, Jakks Pacific, Jazzwares, Kid Robot, Mission Hill, Monogram International, NECA, Plastic Empire Collectibles, Priscilla Wilson, Symbiote Studios, Toddland, UCC Distributing, Udon, Upper Deck, Universal Pictures, What's Your Passion Jewelry, Yesterdays, and more still to come that we have not even announced yet. Like, I'll just say, Neopets is also donating some items, and we haven't announced that yet. So there's so much more still to come, and we are so grateful to all the companies who are kind enough to give us items. So thank you guys for that.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then I also just want to say that I hope you guys are joining me in making friendship bracelets this year. I'm trying really hard to make this a thing, and I feel like it is. So
I think you've made it a thing.
Yeah.
I want it to be a thing. So once the schedule comes out, we're going to look at our schedule, and I'm also going to try to set up like a couple times where maybe we can have like a quick little meetup, like come meet up and trade bracelets like at a specific time. But the Casual Geek on Twitter also made badge ribbons, so you can order one of those. My suggestion is still also like get a carabiner, attach it to your lanyard. Anybody can see then that you have friendship bracelets. But if you see somebody with them, like don't be afraid to go up and ask if you can trade. So again, I hope you join us in crafting this year because I think it's going to be really fun. And then don't forget that we have a Patreon. So if you appreciate the work that we do, or if you enjoy hearing me run down the news incredibly quickly every week, I do that every week on the Patreon. You can go join there. The link to do that is on the bottom of the site. All the money goes right back into our site. It helps keep the lights on, and it helps us do fun stuff for you guys. So that's it. That's all I got.
Awesome. Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up.
James, can I mention one more thing?
Yes.
Do not forget our commissions posts. We still have a lot of artist commissions open, so go check out that post. I'll be adding a couple right after this, I think. So people still have commissions open, and go order yours.
Nice.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Now, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you again to Eric Goldman for coming on. As I mentioned, we'll be back in just 4 days for our first Breaking Down the Schedule podcast, which will cover Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if there is a Wednesday schedule at all. And then the second Sunday at 6 for the Saturday and Sunday schedule. And then next week on Tuesday the 16th, again at our usual time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, will be the final SDConCast before Comic-Con. Ooh, man, 8 days away, and it's the final one before Comic-Con.
Crazy, I know.
Post Comic-Con, when you have had a couple of days to recover and sleep a little bit, we will be on Wednesday the 31st at 6:30 for the Comic-Con wrap-up show.
Yep. Woo. You can sign up for our newsletter. The link to do that is on the bottom of our site. We do send it out. At least we'll send one out tomorrow, and then we'll probably do one last one next week, and then that'll probably be the end. But there's so much news, and it's a really quick, easy way to just like skim everything that's been out. So to make sure you don't miss anything.
There you go. All right. Again, thank you all for joining us. And Andy, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
Oh, thanks, James. I am on Twitter and Instagram at SDCC Wacky Wags for all my Comic-Con coverage. Or if you're a little 21 plus, you can follow me at SDCannablogger for a lot of my cannabis coverage. Carrie, other than SD_comic_con, where can we find you on the internet these days?
Occasionally I'm on my own Twitter these days at Carrie Dixon. Otherwise, I'm just on the blog Twitter. James, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I'm everywhere at Dan Regal, and you can also check out the Citizens of Lorcana podcast on YouTube and all podcast places where I talk about the new Disney trading card game. And also thank you to Beth, our producer, for editing the show and creating the slides and all the other things that get this podcast into your ears.
We are up on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are on the blog. You can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We're also on Stitcher Radio and Spotify. The links are in the show notes.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at info@sdccblog.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you all for listening, and everybody go
shawarma.
butt nuggets.
I think they said that was like their best long exclusive of all time.